Hey guys, welcome back to In My Shed. I'm BC. I've been seeing videos on YouTube about quite a few tailstock repairs and bugger me, mine's a candidate too. And I don't know who's been working on it prior to me taking possession, but there's a couple of little taper pins in there that really had to have the bejesus belted out of them to pull apart. Found it to be unusual construction to me, not that I've done many tailstocks, but this one seemed to have a few different pieces to it, so I'll get out of your way, bring you in a little bit closer, and we'll take it to bits. Hello again. There's not too much science to this tailstock, except the way that it's put together is very, very unusual. The taper pins have just been absolutely flogged to death. This Allen headed screw or socketed screw here was holding that pin in position in the groove, and that's been pushed sideways that hard that it actually sheared the base off the pin. This shaft runs on the cam inside, and quite surprisingly you take the tapered pin out, the cam just withdraws with no retainer, and you pull the camshaft out, which surprised the hell out of me. The cam drops down, and there's a big sigh of relief. The cam is quite okay. I don't mind making bronze bushes and pressing them in, but making a repeat cam or a replacement cam would be a little bit on the difficult side. Now for this little fellow here, that pin would not come out with a pin punch. I had to use a starter drift, and you don't often see that, but yep, that comes off quite easily. Yeah, will it come off any further? I removed the quill. I've had this out and it took me about 8 goes to get it back in. There's no retainer underneath, just a slot in the barrel. For its age and for the way it's been abused, this old girl is still in fairly good condition, surprisingly. And it's got a Morse taper knockout hole in the bottom, although it'd be a little bit hard to get to. I'll have a quick glance at the nut and see if I'm going to be a business there. Yeah, I'd say the Mazak is 3 jumps ahead of the butchers, and the nut still looks worn but usable. Thank God. Another one I don't have to belt. And for the first time in my life, there wasn't one clamping plate underneath. There's 2, so I'll have to get it apart and find out how that bloody clamping mechanism works inside there. It hasn't all fallen apart yet. The clamping arrangement is 2 clamping plates that come in. They're 2 half pieces, one on either side. So I think it's just undo this nut all the way, or this shaft. And I might be able to push it out. And it's a left-hand thread. Okay, that didn't help too much, did it? Okay, it's just got a little cutout in them. Absolutely simple. Now the other one should just slide out. Yes, and the pin hasn't been busted off on that one, which is good. This looks very much like it's a 2-piece assembly, as quite a lot of the Mazak is. One part inside another and a taper pin knocked through to hold it there. So it's a very basic, last for 100 years mechanism until something goes wrong. Okay, I'll investigate a little bit more. I'm not up to lifting the whole assembly. I might have to get the engine crane in and lift it off with that. Okay, I've got a few other pieces coming out. Here's the second half of this clamping device. with a similar half round scallop on it. So no mysteries there. The hand wheel was very straightforward. It was merely take the nut and washer off the back and it slipped off reasonably easy. The keyed shaft wanted to disappear on me, inside and out, but we'll take the lot out. I can just barely move the tailstock now with the associated parts off it. So I'll see if I can't get it into a condition where I can lift it up on top of the bench. 1 kilo at a time gets it a bit lighter. Just move off and find a little pry bar and come back to you. Okay, back at it. We just looked at the pry bar and fell apart. Really very simple and good quality. I'll give Mazak their due, they make a really good machine. I've never seen two-piece clamping plates for underneath. As it is, even with all the guts removed, this is still beyond one little old man. I'll have a look to see if I can find out how to pull it apart. If not, I'll get the engine crane in and lift it onto the bench to have a look at the bits underneath. So for the moment, I think it's time to knock off and go and have a beer. Thanks for watching so far. Okay everybody, the laugh is on me. I did manage to lift it off by myself, just the brute strength of an old man and a piece of wood, but I tipped it up at an angle and slid it along one end at a time. And it's like something I haven't seen before. Pity I don't have a bloody book on it. Oh, and by the way, I'm becoming a very good machinist. This is now my go-to spanner instead of the correct size wrench like a bloody fitter would. There's 2 draw bolts, consequently the need for 2 clamping plates, and they're on a compensating shaft through the middle. And what I thought at the back, I thought it was always for adjusting it sideways. Turns out that's for rotating the pivot shaft and adjusting the bias between the front and back plates. So you clamp them both off the one item here, but you adjust the bias between the 2 plates, and it must just have come out of adjustment, or when a fellow was using my lathe he said a little fiddle and couldn't figure out what it was for. I dare say these 2 bolts clamp the upper and lower half together, and if I had been smart enough to take them out it would have come to pieces, so I might give that a go now. Clean all the shite out of it, get it lubricated. There's the adjusting screw for the centre lateral. And so far it seems to be in fairly good nick. The outer quill is not excessively scored. As I said, I'm really pleased with the condition of the cam, and I'm looking for it and it's in my hand. Said BC. Yep. Now that's in extremely good condition, and I checked it in the bush inside, and there's 1 or 2 thou clearance there, but there's nothing to cry home about. I have to do a repair and manufacture most probably a broken screw that's intended to keep that in its place, and I definitely won't drive the pins in as it had been. Yeah, that's a good definition of the shithead that had this lathe before me. Bloody hammer marks on the tailstock clamping handle, my God. And on the other side. Hammer it both ways, yep. That'll fix the problem. Bloody hell. Okay. To think that bloke was most probably indentured, served his time in Europe somewhere. I think I know the employee. I got this from one of my ex-customers. and clean it up tomorrow and get it back together. Okay, bye for now. I'll bring you in if I find anything interesting in the rebuild. So far I'm very, very happy. It looks like the cost is only a little bit of time, and if I had a second lathe, making that bloody screw would be an easy job, but I might be able to find something that I can manifestly modify. Please like and subscribe if you haven't so far. Back again, everyone. Well, that was a bit of a struggle. I tried to get my engine crane in here and I positioned all the machines perfectly, just half an inch or 13mm too close together for that crane to go through. I thought, you bastard, how could you do that? So I had to put up a Trojan horse ramp and slide it down onto the bed, which wasn't much fun, being a scrawny little bugger that I am. So I had a couple of levers and I got it down here. Reasonably safely, I've got to say. I had safety bars under it, and if it was going to fall I was going to push it that way, not on top of me. A couple of things I did forget. Oh, sorry, one thing I forgot, and something I found out. I forgot to put the little spigot block back up for the adjuster screws. Luckily I found it quite easily by hand and I've got the screws in. It's now in position but not locked up, and one of the first things I tried was to get the clamping lever in through the eye bolt that lifts up the plate on the bottom, and everything's working reasonably well. Boy, this thing has been messed up quite badly. What I thought was a broken off locator screw was really one of two stops that give you the definition of range there, and the actual stop wasn't screwed down far enough to engage into the slot, so hey presto, the lever doesn't go sideways anymore. That's working. Now I've got to lube up the quill and slide that back in, put the back end on that, and once the quill is in I'll put the two halves for the clamping arrangement to go in. So nothing too difficult, I don't think. I just hope we get the sequence right. I hate doing things several times, which I've been known to do in my life. Okay, I'll put a little bit of lube in it. And I hope I'm getting this in the right order. Okay, I'll just start the quill a little bit. That went better than I thought. Oh, don't lose the thrust bearing. All right. Yep. That's going to work out all right for me. Okay. Better than expected. And now I've got to think about what to do with the crane for down this area. I don't want to go through the rigmarole of moving machines again, but I just might not have a choice. Bit of a beggar. I'll turn that set of keys facing upwards. Nothing worse than part way through a job like this, you hear that clunk of little parts falling down into the swarf tray. It's not like snap, crackle, pop. It's a sound you don't want to hear. Okay, and I'll let you in on a bit of a secret, four-line thought again. What I thought was two interconnecting clamping rods have no connection whatsoever, scraping all the shite out of there and having a good look. I find out that the rear one is just independent. So what I've been adjusting as the nut for the clamping plate was adjusting the nut for the clamping plate for the one operated by this hex, not the one at the front operated by the lever. So now I know what I've been doing wrong, I can correct it. You're getting a lot of corrections out of me today. Maybe I just shouldn't do so many things wrong. Get the correct size machinist spanner. Okay, that's a good start. Right, the next is a bit of a clean up before I go putting the clamps in. So I'll turn you off, no need to bore your pants off, and I'll get some other parts ready. Okay, I've taken you in a little bit closer. I had to stop the video earlier, I couldn't see a bloody thing that I was doing. The wrong glasses on, of course. Now this is part of the quill clamping mechanism. And even though the lathe's been abused, it's still in reasonably good condition. And during this great journey of mine, I've come across the serial number 25874, so I say it'd be a 1974 model. That means the poor old bucket's only 10 years younger than me. Bloody hell. And we've both done a mountain of work, I'm sure of that. Left-hand threaded bolt. Okay. I've got this going in quite readily. Okay. Taper pins. You know, if I follow suit from the last bloke, you're supposed to belt the living shit out of these. I don't know why you would do that, I do not know. Some poor beggar has to get them out later on. It's nicely fitted. A bit like the Kearns borer, when I worked on that, it was all taper pins to keep it together. you might have to go a little bit further. Let's see if that's no, go in. Aha! Now we're there. A few light taps. No, this ain't so good. See if I can get that around a little. I might have to tap it out again, I think. Yep, start again. Just a little bit more. That'll be, oops, too much. Let's try that. Oh, yet again it won't line up. Okay, I'm getting boring. And I think we're just about done. I've just got the alignment to do when I put it back up and a couple of clamping plates to put underneath. All work you don't want to see me doing, and I'll be swearing at this soon. So anyway, I hope you like what you've seen. Please subscribe and give me the thumbs up if you can. And let's hope the old girl works better. Thanks for watching. And you thought I'd finished. The legacy of the previous worker forced me right to the bloody end. Quite obviously, inverse domed washers and part domed nuts, or lightly domed nuts, and he had the bloody nuts on back the front. My oh my, I'm not a very good fitter, but I'm not that bloody bad.